I know this video is a bit late coming, but I didn't originally plan on even doing this kind of format with the footage I had for Vanguard. Originally, I was just going to upload a walkthrough to this channel, but I realized that isn't the kind of content I'm interested in making, at least for this channel. Instead, I'd rather stick to these voiceover videos talking about the general basis of something, or just really whatever I want and making a video I find quality. Anyways, enough sidetracking as to why this video is late and why it is made the way it is. Let's just get to the point. Vanguard's campaign sucked. And I don't mean a classic mediocre COD campaign we usually get. I mean, this takes the cake for possibly the worst COD campaign we have to date. Apparently, you are this top secret group of 6 people hired by the SOE to gather info in Nazi Germany, and the group was only made for one mission only. So the mission you hop into the game, that is supposed to be their first and last mission. They specifically say that.
Our first and only mission.
Sounds great for a campaign. What could go wrong, you know? Nothing could go wrong with that. To start the game, you play as a character named Novak, who is just a guy who's supposed to be really good at picking locks. Ends up, he's not so good at doing that. He's not good enough to do the one lock he's supposed to do in time. This seemed like it was going to work like Cold War, where they focus you to play as one person that is under some alias/codename. But the first mission, you end up getting Luciled by a Nazi officer, but instead he uses a random ass wooden chair he just had his ass all over. So you never end up knowing who Novak even was. They never even let you see his face or anything. They never let you even learn anything about him. So you never end up knowing who Novak really was or even what he looked like because he dies in the first 30 minutes. At that point, I just imaged Novak as Glenn's fucked up face. The rest of the characters consist of Arthur Kingsley, the captain of the group, Lucas Riggs, the Aussie of the group, Polina, the elite Russian sniper from Stalingrad, also probably my favorite character in the game, Wade Jackson, the pilot/cocky American, and finally, Richard Webb, who's basically only here because he's Arthur's circle jerk buddy. I will admit, though, Richard is probably my second favorite character, but not really because of the character, more because of the actor. I like the actor behind Richard Webb, and that's really it. After Novak's death, the rest of the group gets captured and brought to a jail cell at the officer's base that basically just looks like a spot you'd hold drunkards overnight. Now, here's where my problems with the story begin to start. I do not exaggerate when I say this. The rest of this game's campaign consists inside this jail cell until the final fucking mission. The only exception being flashbacks of when the characters reminisce on the good old days when they could actually put up a fucking fight. Literally, this game consists around
Gods, I was strong then.
This is actually how the whole rest of the game goes. They get interrogated by a Nazi named Janik Richter. Whatever the fuck rank he even is, I don't think he actually has an official rank. They even bring that up. He's just an insecure loser who's not even at all intimidating. Hell, even the group brings up how he's clearly not intimidating. He's just a little bitch after the first interaction with him. They just play the guy for a fool throughout the whole game to get him to spew out information as he tortures and questions them. The formula at this point pretty much goes like this. Whoever gets taken outside the cell and gets interrogated is the person you are going to be having a flashback with next. I won't go over all of the flashbacks just because I don't give a fuck about these flashbacks, because I do not care about what these characters have done. I care about what they're going to do in this story. If you wanted me to care about the flashbacks, make them actually link to the current story, because they end up just being a way to give lore to the people you are playing as, and that is it. Just a whole big lore dump. Arthur is the first flashback, and it happens on the way to the cell before you even meet Janik Richter, because they were already talking about their past on the way to the jail. The flashback is pretty much meh. It really just shows how Arthur and Richard met and why they ended up as such close friends. Wade Jackson, who by the way wasn't even in the cell, apparently was just out there somewhere because he abandoned the team, but now he got captured by them too, so yeah, it's a great first impression by that guy. This one makes you fly and shoot down a ton of other planes and even dodge cannons from ships. I wasn't using a controller, so this ended up being an extremely painful experience. After doing the plane part, they quickly do a cutscene back in the present where they just casually kill off Richard, my second fucking favorite character. They just shoot him in the head, just like that, to keep you interested, because even the developers realized how boring it was getting. After Richard is shot right in the head, the flashback just continues like that death never even happened, showing how quickly they wanted to get it over with and move on. This flashback felt like it dragged out the longest by a mile because you went from being in the air as a pilot, crashing down, and doing a stealth mission to then going all out guns blazing by the end of it. You end up meeting this black focus, like literally only black division, which is cool and all. I think they're based in Vietnam. I think that's where you're at right now at this time. But it's really just not interesting. It's just whatever. I ended up being on this flashback for an entire hour. It's really dragged out because it just was not interesting. Not at all. I just was not interested in the lore of this character that I just met and I know nothing about. I don't really care for him. I didn't like his first impression, and it didn't really help me at all for this hour-long bullshit segment. The Aussie ends up getting his flashback, and yeah, it's just more shooty, sit here, defend this, blah blah. It's the same shit, different cover. That's just how it goes with these games. Before I continue, there was also Polina's flashback. You were probably wondering what's going on with that. Richard Webb, by the way, never got a flashback. He's connected with Arthur Kingsley, I guess, and that's why they didn't give him his own flashback, and that's why they probably ended up just killing him off. He was pretty much a side character, even though he's probably one of the most liked characters out of them all. When it comes to Polina, it was just another boring fucking thing. I won't even talk about it. It was just focusing on her being a sniper. You were a sniper. The best part was you being in Stalingrad where nothing was happening before the attack because you got to take in the environment. It looked cool. That's it. We come to the final sprint of the game where during the interrogation, the Aussie just so happens to have a knife stored on him because apparently they didn't get patted down, I guess. Very fucking secure of them. And then taking him to the cell where Arthur slowly kills him because basically he killed Richard. Makes sense. Then the group goes after the officer, which I'm not even going to speak his name because who gives a fuck? Nobody cares about this officer. He's downright irrelevant. He's the leader of it all, but he's been in like 10 minutes worth of cutscenes. I don't care for him. Let's bring this up. They just got out of the jail cell. They just killed Janek Richter, and they're going after the officer. This is the final mission of the game. Only 2 missions were in the present, and it was the first and final mission, both being the shortest missions in the game. This final mission ends up making you play every character quickly to highlight what they can do, and it's horribly executed and bland as fuck and does not matter. It's basically just a chase after the officer, and eventually you'll catch up to him conveniently just before he makes his escape. You end up getting the choice to spare his life or not by throwing a lighter on him to burn him alive or leave him. I ended up throwing the lighter on him because I need some sort of satisfaction after what I had to go through. Later on, I found out he ends up getting killed the exact same way. Even if you don't do it yourself, Polina ends up killing him. So they end up giving you the illusion of choice when really it plays out the same way no matter what, which is a huge step down compared to Cold War's campaign where they focused on choice, which I love that formula. It was completely different for COD. They usually don't give you this huge level of choice, and you got to do that throughout all of Cold War and kind of create your own campaign, your own path. They had completely different endings for the game when this just has the same no matter what. After he's dead, they hop on the plane and find lore and info pretty much that links directly to zombies, which I talk about more or make a video on zombies, but there literally isn't enough there to simply even talk about it any further. And well, roll credits. That's literally the game. Just pretty shit compared to Cold War. And you're probably asking, why am I comparing this to Cold War? Well, Cold War was the last Call of Duty. It was the Call of Duty before this one. And so, yeah, that campaign, it was fun. I loved it. It was a great campaign. So, my standards got a bit higher because Modern Warfare's campaign was pretty enjoyable too. But this Vanguard's campaign just brings nothing of value. The best part of the game was the first few minutes of only the first mission in the game when you are on the train feeling like a badass, as COD usually is good at doing for these campaigns. But after that, it's just not interesting and kind of slow at times. I gotta say, this was a huge step down from Cold War's campaign, man. Modern Warfare and Cold War were 2 solid campaigns back to back, giving me a nice 5 to 7 hours of fun each. They didn't focus on the characters too much, and they kind of allowed you to just have fun. The problem with this game is that the whole focus was the characters. And when you do the same thing the same length of a COD as a COD campaign, which is around 5 to 7 hours long. I was on the hardest difficulty, and I think I beat it in 4.5 hours. So it's a bit ridiculous. The game should have been a 20-hour campaign if you're going to focus on just characters. You have to, because there has to be more than just characters. You were just doing a whole lore dump this entire game, which was just stupidly disappointing. But this, this was just boring, bland, and downright fucking annoying. This, to me, it's the worst COD campaign of all time. Gods, I was strong before I played this game, but now I'm a fucking old, decrepit man.